Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Director's Garage Live. Director's Garage Live. It's Wednesday. It's a hump day, and it's a little bit of a sad hump day, and I'll talk about why in just a moment. Got the Susvaras working today. I'll explain why. I've got these on today. Little story behind them. But the top of the news is sad today, and it's we lost Tina Turner, the great Tina Turner, legendary rock singer, passed away at the age of 83. She'd been sick for some time. She died in Switzerland, and that news broke about 3 hours ago, roughly. My show, Entertainment Tonight, will have coverage of that tonight, and then I think we're dedicating a full show to Tina Turner tomorrow. So you can look for that, check your local listings. And I'll just go to this real quick because we can. And this is the obit and the headline, Tina Turner dead at 83. And yeah, they just said that she'd been sick for some time. And we haven't seen her in public for a number of years. So whatever it was taking her down. And a lot of tributes pouring in from celebrities around the world as it happens, and you know, I remember her more. I remember her from the '80s because that was kind of when I was growing up. But I more appreciated her music style from the earlier years, from the Ike days and Proud Mary and all those fabulous. She's just somebody who threw her entire body into whatever she was performing. I mean, like, I've never seen anybody work that hard at a performance. She was very much in sort of the way James Brown was, like, just putting her entire self into whatever performance she was giving. And just a tremendous performer and fantastic. I was in the '80s. I was more into kind of the alt and the punk scene more than sort of the pop. When she went sort of to What's Love Got to Do with It and all those '80s hits, I was sort of checked out of that genre at that point. I was coming into REM on the heels of, you know, Talking Heads and, you know, all those, the Clash and all those great punk and new wave bands. That was really my genre. So I wasn't, full confession, I wasn't the hugest fan of hers in her resurgence, and it was quite a resurgence. This woman overcame everything and came back and topped the charts. You know, talk about having a great second half. She had a tremendous second half. And then she got into the acting and she did the Mad Max stuff, and it was just amazing. Just amazing performer, and all respect in the world to her. But I remember her from those super early days and just throwing herself into singing Proud Mary on TV. I remember those performances so well, and just tremendous talent. And you know, a sad afternoon when we lose an icon. She was 83 years old. Cheers, everybody. But that's sort of the news of the day. That's the big news of the day, is the loss of Tina Turner. So sad note on that, and we're going to lose a lot. You know, we're going to start losing those icons, man. They're getting up there. So hate to see it. So sad day. Other news, I don't have a ton to report. I was wearing the Susvaras. I got these back as I unboxed last week on the live show after somebody said, they're upsetting me and got a scratch on them, and the ear pads look a little worn. And I'm like, okay, well, you bought a used headphone, but I'll take them back and pay you your money back. But I did rehoove this stallion. It's an amazing headphone. And I bought some new ear pads for it. So I picked up, these are fenestrated Deconi pads, and then I've got a second pair of original pads for these from, I found them on HiFiman's website, and they're being shipped here now. And then I also got one pair of, not these, this is empty. I got their version of a hybrid pad, which is kind of interesting. This is velour on the, sort of a cloth, soft cloth on the inside, and a leather in the sandwich portion of it. I'll go on to the HiFiman. Just playing with them a little bit. I felt kind of bad that I was sending out a headphone that had bad pads, so I'm like, I'm going to overdo it. Because that's what I usually do. So, but that's all fine. That's all fine. These are now in primo shape with a bunch of pads and a custom cable, and I'll still sell these, I guess, if somebody comes up and wants to buy them. But glad that they're back in house. Boy, they sure sound good. They're a good pair of headphones, that's for sure, man. One of the best in the world. So fantastic. Y'all saw my electrostatic episode. Now that was crazy. I told you guys it was going to be nuts. That was going to be nuts, and it was. And the funny thing is that all of that gear has been sitting back here for weeks. I just couldn't reveal it, and I didn't want to reveal it to you guys yet. I wanted to save it for the big show, so you know, it's just in the background. I didn't have any light on anything, and just kind of kept it quiet back there. But yeah, the X9000s were sitting back there for a number of weeks as I was auditioning, you know, as I was, after I unboxed them, because it took me a couple weeks to edit that episode. It was so involved and I had so many things going on. So that was kind of fun. It was, you know, one of those fun little Easter egg things. You never know what's going on in the background here. Keep your eye open. You might catch a little glimpse of what's coming up on the Director's Garage. Next episode is going to be the D8000 full review, and I shot that episode last night. Have not started editing it yet, so probably next week, I'm guessing. Things are really steaming along here for me. I've got the big move coming up. It's definitely happening. Don't have an exact date yet. It's going to be around the second week of June-ish. We'll be tearing all of this down and moving it somewhere else and putting it all back together, and hopefully it all works. You just never know. So that's coming on, and yeah, that's kind of the main things that I've been doing. I like I said, I listened to the D8000 a lot over a couple of weeks. I think that my take on them will not be pleasing for everyone to hear, but you know, it's just my take on it. It doesn't mean anything. I've stressed this a lot, and I've had to deal with a lot of like backlash in the comments lately for folks who are unhappy with things I've said about a headphone they liked, and I'm like, man, oh man, guys, just take it down a notch. It just doesn't matter that much, you know. We're just having fun here. But you know, whatever. I mean, I back up what I say. I tell you why I don't like something, or why I think something is maybe not as good as current models, you know, something that's a few years old. It's like, well, you know, technology has moved on, and this is why. And I still have people like, oh, you're a hack. Okay, I'm a hack. But I'm a hack. But I'm a hack with some really good taste, boys. I'm a hack with some really good taste. Hysterical. But I don't block any comments. I just let them spew their venom and go about their lives. It's not worth it. Such a good time. Such a good time. Well, I don't have anything new to report. Like, there's not like, I don't have a new headphone or something new that's coming up. I have to kind of catch up with all of these things I've opened over the past month or so. We're going to be doing a lot more analysis in the upcoming episodes. Also because I'm pretty much broke after all that electrostatic stuff, boys. Killed me. Killed the bank account. You know, so I'll have to sell some stuff to buy some stuff. And I do have a guy that's interested in this here Blue Hawaii back here. That's good news. I will sell that and ship it out, but I'm not selling it before I get a chance to do a shootout between the Alphabet amp back here, the GSSHV Carbon CC. Yeah, it's the Alphabet amp. The Alphabet amp and the Blue Hawaii, I'm going to put those head to head, and I'm going to really tell you what I pretty much already know from just listening to this headphone. It's going to take a little more involved because they both run off of unbalanced signals in, which means I'm going to be doing a lot of cable swapping. I can't A/B them easily anyway. But I will be doing a comparison between the two, not a shootout, because as I said, I think this is the amp to go. It's got the most resale value, and it can free up some stuff for some other things, whatever it is. I don't have any decisions yet. But yes, D8000 episode next, and then we'll do, we're going to do the amp shootout, and we'll do an Expanse review. Remember the Expanse that I opened like a year ago? No, it's not a year. But, you know, you get the idea. It's been, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks since I unveiled the Expanse. Haven't gotten around to doing the sound compare. You know, I got sick. I lost hearing in that ear and never got around to it. So that's coming up. We're going to do the Expanse review. We'll do certainly an X9000. I've already started putting a review together on that, writing down my thoughts. I've spent a ton of time. They're such a joy to listen to. And I think people are going to be shocked by that review too, because I also did a little bit of comparison in there with the Carbon, with the Audeze Carbon. And I think y'all will be surprised by what I have to say regarding those two. So yes, there's going to be, yes, and I just saw him coming up in the chat. We'll start from the beginning of the chat, but yes, we're going to be I'll do a Carbon versus X9000 when I do the Carbon review. Or when I do the X9000 review. Oh, and we're getting new desks. That's good for the new place. Okay. Yeah. There's good news for that. I'm trying to get some furniture for the new place because I want to get a little more room desk-wise so we can spread out and kind of and I can kind of stage things a little bit. So I've got a line on a guy who's going to sell me some big, huge edit desks that will, hopefully one of them will be a background, and then the other one will be what I work from as I'm doing now. Right now I've got this old pine alpha shelving thing that's 100,000 years old. I've done 1,000 soldering projects on this. I've burned the surface off of it. I've spilled umpteen sodas and waters and iced teas all over the thing, and it just keeps ticking. I've literally had this since the early 90s. It's fantastic. Okay, we can turn the phone down a little bit here. Getting a lot of dings. So I'm working, as we're working toward the move, I'm trying to also figure out how do we stage the next version of the Director's Garage. I'm wondering if I should call it Season 2 once we get into the new place. All these numbers, I put a 1 in front of for Season 1, and we're up to 1138 was the episode that I just started working on. 138 of these things. How do you guys even stand me? It's like, my wife doesn't listen to me for 138 of anything. Mrs. Director. Too funny, boys. Too funny. So yeah, let's start going through the chat here, and we'll start looking at your comments. And if you have any thoughts on Tina Turner, absolutely. If you guys are tuning in late, Tina Turner passed away today at the age of 83, about 3 hours ago. We got the word. Entertainment Tonight's going to do, they'll cover it tonight, and then there will be a full, I believe, episode tomorrow just on her life. We've been with her since the early 80s, since her real resurgence when the show went on the air. So you're going to get a lot of that, a lot of old interviews and stuff. Cool stuff. Amazing performer, first lady of rock and roll and all that. I mean, just amazing. Amazing stuff. Queen of rock and roll, I think they were calling her today, which is fair. Okay, so cheers all. ML Jenkins, cheers. Cheers, everybody. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. Halfway. Kind of a late start for me today. I was out shooting in, where was I shooting today? I was shooting way out in West Hills. I had a shoot with some YouTube talent. So long drive back, and I got back and it was 3 o'clock. I'm like, well, I'll go live at 4 and just put up the thing. I didn't even know if I'd be able to live stream today. So glad you guys could make it. Welcome always. Good to see everybody here. Good morning from Australia. Lan Yeo. Cheers, buddy. Cheers. Nephilim. Good to see you, buddy. Hi, everyone. Sad loss of Tina. Going to spin 1984 in her honor. It was a terrific album and has incredible fidelity as well. It did. It really did. Like I said, I was more, I was shifting my tastes at that point, and I was really not into more of the pop lane. And she was really playing into that, that pop hip. I don't want to say hip hop. It wasn't hip hop. It was R&B. She was in that R&B lane, and I was sort of moving into the more punk and alt rock and new wave and all of that. I was kind of into that end of it. So I listened to it, but it wasn't like the thing that I was into at the time. But I have great appreciation for it, and like I said, that early stuff, just phenomenal. So good. Happy Wednesday, Hipster Cow. Good to see you, buddy. Richard Spector, hello, gents. Sounds like someone had a bit of buyer's remorse, over the Hifiman Susvara. Well, the next guy is going to get a bunch of new pads along with the Susvara and its fancy cable. And its very slight little mark or something right here that apparently made this headphone worthless. Gotta get rid of it. It's out of here. Silly. But yeah, it's back in house, and I was checking those out, and when I was doing my X9000, I also wanted to compare them to these because in price they're the closest, and in sound they probably are closest in sound, the X9000 to the Susvara, which is very interesting to me. It was a very interesting shootout when I started doing comparisons with the Susvara and the SRX 9000. Great name for a headphone, by the way. X9000. Much better ring than 009 or 007. Some mystery thing. X9000 sounds like it's taking charge. So silly. I love the names of products. It's just great. Yeah, so a little bit of buyer's remorse, I guess, but I gave them a full refund. What do I care? It's only money, folks. Cayin N8 would be a nice low-cost review of a new R2R DAC. Corling, yeah, sure. I mean, I just got in the DCS, so I'm certainly not anxious to jump into another DAC at the moment. But if it came here from Audio 46, our friends over there, make sure you're checking out Audio 46. We just cleared $70,000 in sales on audio. You guys who using the coupon code and going over there using the affiliate links, $70,000 worth of sales. I mean, they told me when I started my affiliation with Audio 46 that we'd be lucky, you'll get a couple of sales, it'll be no big deal. And y'all just poured over there and really showed them that, when you get a motivated group of guys who really enjoy hanging out together and buying gear and stuff and save some money here and there, it can really pay off for all parties. Everybody wins. You guys get a discount, I got a little commission, and they got over $70,000 in sales off this show in about 2 years. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal work on your guys' part. It's all you guys. We just hooked up the deal, and you guys took advantage of it. I love to see that. Love to see people doing better. How's Holly doing? Good question. Holly is back on his feet. He is as spicy as ever. He has not done any hunting, which I think is the cause of what got him sick. I do believe in my heart of hearts that Holly got himself a rat that had eaten something bad like poison, and he poisoned himself. But I did take him to the vet the day after we got off the air. He was still lethargic and he wasn't doing well, so I'm like, buddy, we're taking you in. I let him take him for the day. They loaded him up with IV fluid and antibiotics, and that really helped. In a day, he was sort of walking around little gingerly, but I kept him in the house, and he was getting angry at me for keeping him in the house. But I'm like, dude, I'm not letting you outside with, you know, there's I was gonna say werewolves. What the hell? That's what popped into my head, guys. With werewolves on the hill, no. Coyotes. So stupid. It just, like, in my head, I just heard werewolves, and I'm like, yeah, there's werewolves out there, man. They're going after your cat. Too much. But he was, I'm not letting him out until he's feeling better and can defend himself. And by the weekend, he was like, dude, I'm fine. Get out of my way. You know, he's swatting at me. So I'm like, all right, you can go out. So he's back up, out and about. He's actually in taking a nap right now, but he's over in the other room, which is, I mean, we had to take away his favorite couch, which, you know, because we're clearing stuff out here. I'm going to be throwing out so much crap, guys. So much crap. If you're in LA and you're looking for some vintage stuff, come to the Director's Garage. I've got so much. I have some old vintage Macintosh computers. I've got two beige all-in-ones. One's like a Mac Plus from like 1987. Another one is an SE30 from about 1989, 1990. That one's got a hard drive in it. It's all stuff that it was like little projects that I bought these old computers and I recapped them myself. It's my worst soldering jobs, learning how to solder on a motherboard. I'm like, what do I care? If it breaks, it breaks. I'm just, you know, these things aren't working anyway. So I recapped them and got them all back to life. And I have a blue and white tower computer. Remember the Yosemite blue and white, the ballistic, bulletproof plastic blue and white computer? I have one of those with the handles on all four corners. And I have a G5, the the first liquid cooled processor Macintosh G5 that I bought brand new. It was an editing machine on SD. I'm going to be, all that stuff is just going in the garbage. I might keep the small little Macs, the compact Macs they call them, because they are nostalgic and they don't take up much room. But the big towers are going away. I've got an Xserve RAID, which was this 10-disc array of drives that were all band together for doing high performance SD video in 720 by 486 or 540 by 46, whatever. You know, just ridiculous. And then a bunch of broadcast stuff. I've got a vintage old monitor that was like a broadcast monitor you would use to color grade your SD footage on. It was like perfectly accurate. And when I was doing SD projects out of the house, I had that. I have a beta deck, a 3/4 deck, a DV cam deck that's like just state of the art, and paid thousands for all of this stuff. Tens of thousands, really, if you add it all up. And it's all going in the dumpster. They're absolutely worthless. I looked them up on eBay, and like they're asking like 25, 30 bucks for them, and they weigh 40 pounds, 50 pounds a piece. Like, it's going to cost more to ship it than they're worth, and that's what they're asking for them. Nobody's getting that. It's like they're up. There's tons of them up there. So yeah, I've got all of this old gear that I'm just going to be tossing. I'm like, why keep it? I'm even throwing some of my old project tapes, like stuff I did back. I worked at PBS for 5 years. I have old reels of work I've done. I'm like, what am I holding on to this for? When am I ever going to use it? I'm at the top of my field in what I'm doing. I'm not leaving this job unless they fire me. And, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm not going to need another demo reel to sell myself. Why am I holding on to all of this old stuff? What for? So I'm just tossing so much in the next week or two. We're going to have a junk guy come, and I'm like, take it all, boys. Take it all. Get it out of my life. I don't want to move it. So lots of stuff like that. Old motorcycle gear. I used to ride a motorcycle all the time. I'm like, what am I holding on to 20-year-old body leather for? When I used to carve it up on a Ducati, I had a 998, old Tamburini design 998. It was a gorgeous bike, and I had full leathers to go with that. What am I holding on to this shit for? It's just stuff, and it's taking up room. So let's see if we get back to the chat. That was a total rat hole. Sorry. Probably lost all the viewers. All the people went away. He's not talking about headphones. Damn it. Hipster Cow, happy Wednesday. Happy to you. We talked Richard Spector. Awesome. What's going on here? My chat window is just freaking out. It just jumped all over the place. Where'd it go? Nothing says quality like dead air. All right. All right, here we go. No? All right, there we go. Back. Got it. How's Howley doing? We did that. Howley, yes, I know. JTB, in honor of Tina Turner, Michael promised to put some stank in this live stream. Oh, I put some stank. I'm telling you, boys. So, how did you know I didn't shower today, JTB? Curious if I kept the carbon. Yeah, I addressed that. I did keep the carbon, and it's going to be. I'm going to do comparison within that episode. I was going to do a full blown shootout video, but you'll understand why I didn't when I do the review of the X9000. It's like I'll just say this: it was not entirely conclusive. Okay, leave it at that. Sinister Collector, congrats on the new house, Michael. Yeah, we finally, it looks like we're going to close. Looks like we've got a place for this. I've got a big space to fill, literally maybe 2 to 3 times this space in size. So I'm going to have a lot more room. I'm going to have a gear locker where I can store stuff. There's a wine cellar in this place. It's got a wine cellar. And I don't really drink much, although most people think I'm drunk or high most of the time. I really don't, guys. I don't. So I'm going to take half of the wine cellar and I'm going to pull the wine racks out and I'm going to put in vinyl and tape storage. How about that? How's that for an idea? Yeah, keep them cool, keep them frosty. No, it's not frosty, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, it'll keep them cool and dry and put them in the wine cellar. Why not? And I got more than enough. I probably get the whole collection on just half the wine cellar size. Fantastic stuff. Happy hour. Yeah, it is happy hour. Cheers, everybody. I hope you're raising something more interesting than a water. And if you are, please tell us what it is you're drinking. Inquiring minds want to know. Get that quality ice water in there. It's actually vodka on the rocks, boys. I'm just, I don't want you to know that I supersize it. I love, and by the way, guys are commenting down below, motorcycles. I love motorcycles. Let me tell you about how marriage works, boys. If you're contemplating let's have a little fireside chat. JTB wanted me to get a little stank in the episode, so let's have a little straight talk. If you're considering getting married, make sure you already have all of the shit you want, because then they can't go, I don't want you to have that. You're not allowed to have that or whatever. Make sure you have all of the shit you want beforehand. I had a lot of the shit, but one of the things I had done was I've had a bunch of motorcycles. My whole life I've been riding a motorcycle, literally up until I was 36, 38 when I got married. And had motorcycles my whole life. From the earliest days, I was on Kawasaki's and Suzuki's and Hondas and all that stuff. And then when I got my first really big job, I bought a big Honda. I won't say it was not a Valkyrie, but it was it was a huge bike. It was like a 1,000cc bike, and it was kind of like a semi-cruiser, but it was more like a standard bike. It was really great, super fast. Oh, V65 Magna. I had the V65 Magnum, and that was a phenomenally fast bike and wonderful. And I had that, and then I got into Harleys, and I had like a Sportster, and then I traded that in, and I got a big, huge Heritage Softail Classic. I drove that across the country. Love motorcycles, guys, like with a passion. I absolutely love motorcycles. When I moved to LA, the Harley, the $18,000 Harley that I had just sculpted into this beautiful vintage 50s white wall tired and chromed out fishtail exhaust, just masterpiece. It got stolen my first week in town. There was a Russian syndicate that was stealing Harleys in the area. This is like 2000 or so. Stolen my first week in town. So then I bought a bike that would like not get me into trouble with people wanting to steal it. I got a BMW. Nobody takes BMWs. They're just, you can't really part them out. They're not hugely popular. They're popular within their group, but I got a really fast BMW. Hated the driving experience. It's like the ultimate driving machine. Not in this case. It was the ultimate boring machine. It was so fast, but it was really boring to drive. So then I sold that, and I got a Ducati, and I got a Honda 954RR, and I had the Ducati 998, which was the last year before they changed the front design on them. It was the classic like Lamborghini of motorcycles looking bike, super bike, and just loved those bikes. And I had two of them, so my buddy would come out with me, and I'd give him a motorcycle, and we'd go off riding and through all the canyons and stuff out here. It's the best time ever. And then those got stolen. So when those got stolen, I didn't replace them, and I got married. And Mrs. Director was like, "You're not getting a motorcycle as long as we're living in LA. I don't want you splatted on the road somewhere." And no matter what argument I made, she just wouldn't buy it. So I still built bicycles, and I had tons of bicycles because I'm a two-wheeler, and I ride bicycles, and I build them and enjoy them. But she would not allow me to have a motorcycle at all. The motorcycle was off the list of possibilities for me. So then I built an electric bike that did 50 miles an hour. And she's like, "You end around me on that." And I went, "Well, kind of." So I built this electric bike from scratch. I had an old frame here that was it was a mountain bike with front suspension and the whole thing, and I stripped it down. I slapped a huge 1,000 watt motor on it, and huge ass battery, 48 volt, 52 volt battery system on it, and the thing just goes like hell. It'll climb any hill. It's lightning fast, and that's what I ride around on. Yeah. The RC51, that was the follow-up to the V65 Magnum. It was a little more sport-oriented. All right, where was I in the chat? Because I don't want to skip anybody. I just get sidetracked so easily because I like talking about shit. Yes, good to hear. Yuri, not Uri. You were here last week. Hello, good to hear you speaking about music, not just cans and cables. Yeah, well, today we're talking about Tina Turner a lot because, we lost the legend. Lost the legend, man. Just a few hours ago. Really sad stuff. But man, what a career. What a career and what a voice. Just pure energy is how I described her at the beginning of the show. Tina Turner is just one of the greats. One of the greats. Absolutely. Tom Kircher. Cheers, Tom. I don't know if you're new around here or not. Yeah, but if you are new, we cheers everybody who comes in new. That's how this works. It's a happy hour hump day hangout. Have your favorite beverage on hand, please. We toast people all the time. Everybody's raising their glass all over the world. Just fun. We're just having fun. Did you ever get a chance to listen to the OG-HE6? I think I did once at a show like forever ago. But I never spent any time with them. I couldn't give you a good handle on them one way or the other. I know they were power hungry dogs, and it was that and the K something or other was the reason that can I do this? No, I can't. Okay, my Woo is up here, my Woo WA5LE, and it's not let's get that straightened out. It's not hooked up right now. It's just sitting on the shelf kind of being eye candy, because we're in the midst of packing stuff, so a lot of stuff is just kind of sitting on a shelf, and it was staged for the showings of the house when we did the open houses and stuff. It was a nice thing to put up there and say, it's really cool, buy this house. But that has a 4-pin on it, and that's just for the HE6, and then there was one other K something or other that it was designed to drive also. I can't remember what it is. Is it written on there? No, it's not. Okay. So there you go. But yes, I know they're impossibly hard to drive, but that's pretty much what I remember of them. They were the predecessor to the Susvara in terms of pain in the ass to drive headphones. And one thing people get wrong about this is, like, we talk about, well, it's hard to drive, and people go, well, I hooked it up to my blank. I hooked it up to my WA5 LE, and I got it made a lot of volume. We're not talking about volume when we're talking about the ability to drive the Susvara. What we're talking about is how much power does it have on hand in reserve. All of these machines, all of these great amplifiers have capacitance. They have these batteries that store, they're mini batteries, and they store electricity that can be discharged when the music and the headphone demand more power. And you can get volume out of these things, but the difference is impact and speed changes on the Susvara when you have a more powerful amp. So it's not can they make volume, it's what's the quality of the sound that's coming out. And although I had plenty of amps, from the Phonitor X to the GSX Mark II head amp and the WA5 that would drive the Susvara, meaning it would make them produce sound, it wouldn't drive them well, meaning they didn't give you the bass response that you really want in a headphone of this caliber. And it wasn't until really I picked up the Bakun 13R with 25 watts and massive capacitors on the inside, capacitance quality, that this headphone really came alive. And then I got it also to activate when I took the Ferrum stack, which I've now sold, as you know, as a part of the three-way deal for the player to be named later, which was the SRX 9000. I sold traded the Audeze LCD-5 plus my Ferrum stack for that X9000 with a guy in Singapore, as I put in the last one. But when I put the Ferrum stack into full blast mode, which is like it eliminates the potentiometer from the signal chain, and I'm just using another source, like say this Macintosh down here, to preamp it, and then the amp is giving me full-blown power out of the jacks, that's when I felt like the Susvara was somewhat adequately driven by that Ferrum stack. Like I was getting better sound out of it that actually seemed to make these better and make these a little more listenable. But the Bakun really is the headphone amp that best has driven these so far. And I haven't experimented with, like some people say, well, put speaker amps. You get a 150 watt speaker amp and just crank it up, put it to the terminals coming off of it. And I'm like, yeah, but I've also read people who have fried out their Susvara in doing that, and I'm not going to do that on the show that's losing money with a $6,500 headphone or $6,000 headphone. So, but nevertheless, that the idea that it can't be, that it can produce sound with other amps is fine, but it can't be driven well by those amps. And that's what we're all referring to when I say, well, it won't drive the Susvara. We're saying it won't drive the Susvara to the potential or near the potential resolving power and bass response that this headphone can possibly produce. It's the bass is anemic, they're a little thin sounding. Once you get into the better quality amps and the higher powered amps, these things start coming alive. They give you a lot more back than what you're putting into them, but it's ridiculous that your $6,000 amp needs like a $6,000, or your $6,000 Susvara also happens to need about a $6,000 amp to really push them to their, you know, get them in their comfort zone as far as sounding really good. So anyway, that was all the rat hole off of the HE6 question, but the very few, you know, you need a lot of power to drive those things, meaning to get them up on their skis, as I like to say, to get them really flying, you need to give them a lot of power. It's just the way they are. And you can get them to make noise. It's just, it's not going to be like, you're not going to be wowed by it. You know, to really get your, you know, hear something impressive, you've got to provide them with a lot of juice. Michael looks like a motorcycle guy. Few can pull that off. Yeah, it's my tattoos. I just haven't shown them to you yet. Yeah. Michael's now a moped man. No, I'm the electric bike man. Electric bike. I also have regular bikes. And Lord knows, I need to get on those bikes more and more. Nephilim had a CBR 600cc for 4 years. He lived to tell the tale. Yeah, dude. You weren't in LA, though, where you take your life into your own hands when you get on a motorcycle. And the Mrs. Director does have a point. The odds are not in your favor. Tom Kircher bought my Phonitor X. Tom, cheers. I didn't know that. I hadn't recognized your name, but yes, the Phonitor X. That's a really impressive machine. And really, what was great about it was all the crossfeed features on that. The difference was I don't really play with crossfeed that much. Even on this new, I thought I would be playing with it more on the DCS Lena. I haven't messed with it hardly at all because I'm too busy like auditioning stuff, and I need to have the pure signal coming in without the crossfeed. So yeah, that's the best part of the Phonitor was how great those crossfeed features were. I just never got a chance to play with them much anyway. Adnan says, Tom, he has the OG HE6. It's more dynamic and powerful bass than the Susvara. By the way, Michael, the K is the K1000. Thank you, Adnan, for giving me my brain back. That's what I was thinking of, the K1000. Those are from the super powerful, power hungry family. Yeah. Though the Susvara is faster. Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, this was the first. Wasn't this one of the first? Maybe the HE1000 was the first nano thickness diaphragm. This was the uber thin diaphragm, and that was what HiFiman claimed gave these the tremendous speed that they have, and they do have tremendous speed. There's no question about that. I still am hot and cold on these. I like them and I hate them equally. They're a phenomenal world-class headphone. They're tremendously frustrating, and they don't always scratch the itch that I have. And I think I've made that clear with like my Caldera. I love the Caldera, and I enjoy the Caldera more than the Susvara. And that doesn't make the Susvara a worse headphone. It's just my personal preference. I like them. I like the Caldera a little bit more. They've got a little beefier down low. They've got some slam there. They've got some sub bass there that the Susvara doesn't quite give you. Susvara has good bass down low, but it's very detailed, and there's not like that impact, that physical impact. And the Caldera sort of goes there a little more, and they're a little more bass weighted. They elevate the bass frequencies, whereas the Susvara kind of keeps things a little more natural and neutral in sound. And there's nothing wrong with either approach. It's just I happen to like Caldera just a little bit more, I think, than the Susvara. But I'm listening to them again. I got some new pads in, and as I mentioned this at the top of the show, if you guys tuned in late, we were talking about Tina Turner, who passed away. We're almost 45 minutes in. Tina Turner passed away today, about 4 hours ago now, and then the announcement was made. I assume she was that came right after, I got new pads for the Susvara. That's the other thing. I bought some Daconis. I have a new pair of HiFimans coming in because these are the old. Look at this. I happen to have them right here. These are the old pads, and these little tabs back here it's just a nylon kind of plastic, very bendy, and they get a little weak. They don't like. You got to kind of wiggle them a little bit to get them to hold. And I just thought, all right, the guy didn't like that. The guy who bought the Susvara for me was upset because this felt a little loose. I'm like, I'll just buy a new pair. And they're cheap. They're, $100 or something. These aren't, crazy expensive. So I bought a couple of pairs, and I thought, I'll have some fun with them for a couple of weeks, because I don't think anybody's like lining up to buy the Susvara right now from me. So I'm going to make sure I'm enjoying them. Because, they're mine. Take that. Yuri, Tina was great indeed. By the way, Audio 46 is one of his favorite spots in New York City. Yeah, they have. And they're great guys, man. Go in there sometime and talk to them. They're just great guys. Every time I call there and I talk to somebody, it's like, from just Tony on down, just Rodrigo's there, just great guys working there, man. The guys that know their shit and enjoy music and enjoy headphones, enjoy the hobby, and they're a local business. It's like I hooked up with them for a reason. I didn't want to get into some bigger situation, and you know who the bigger situations are. I don't have to promote them, but those guys just kind of we just kind of like shared the same approach and philosophy. We don't take it all that seriously. We are here to have fun, and they're here to have fun too, and just the greatest bunch of guys. And it's a local business, and I'm like, God love anybody who's trying to make it as a business, as a brick and mortar store in New York. Those guys are working their asses off. So I'm more than happy to be paired up with them and get you guys a little discount too along the way. Phenomenal stuff. And they've been supporters of me. They didn't have to take a chance on this show. I mean, I'm an idiot. I tell you, I'm an idiot every day. And they've just been so consistent, sending me new gear and new things to check out without me even asking. Like, I'm just like, thanks, guys. I just keep saying thank you. Don't stop, but thank you. It's really great. Really great the way they supported the show. I can't thank them enough. They're just such great guys. Anyway. Great bunch of people, very helpful, highly recommended. Yeah, I concur, and I know it's a little bit of a commercial or whatever for them, but I don't care. I'm like, I just like rewarding people who are good people. You know what I mean? I'm the guy. Let me tell you a story. We wanted to get a chandelier for the dining room, and there was this place. Over on the LA side, we're in the valley. Over on the LA side, we were walking past this store one night, and it was a chandelier store, and they had all these sparkly chandeliers in the window, and we're like pointing. I'm like, oh, that one looks really good. And my wife's like, no, I like that one over there. And we had a friend with us, and she's like, oh no, guys, look at this one over here. And the owner of the store was in the back doing work. And the store was closed. It was after hours. And the owner of the store like opened his door, and he looked, and he saw us all pointing at the different chandeliers and like talking about them amongst ourselves. And he goes, wait a minute, turns on all the lights and opens the door. And Mrs. Director's next word were, oh God, don't make them fall in love with something expensive, because we're walking out of here with a purchase tonight. Because that's who I am. If somebody is going to give me that level of customer service, I'm going to reward it with my dollar. And sure enough, we found a chandelier that was probably more expensive than we should have bought, but it was just amazing. And those guys still come out and they clean it every year. We have them come out here and shine it up and stuff for Thanksgiving dinner and things like that. But that's just how I am. It's like when somebody does a solid for me, I'm going to reward them. And like that was the thing. It was like, God, this guy it was after hours. It was a Saturday night. He was closed up. He wanted to go home to his wife or whatever. And he looks out and he sees us looking in. He's just, oh, wait a minute. Throws on the lights, unlocks the door, invites us in to look around. He had a sale right there. He had a sale before he opened the door. Just phenomenal. Yes. Hipster Cow says, now that we managed... Oh, come on, man. Why is my chat is just going nuts today, like jumping around. Now that we managed to convince you to pick up the X9000. Hipster Cow. Next up is the Shangri-La Junior and the Stax Omega. Well, boys, let me tell you something. We're buying a house. The gravy train on me buying endgame stuff, unless I'm selling something to get there, we're not going to be able to add like unlimited funds to this hobby for a little bit here, because we got to get on we're going to be paying a lot of money off to the government, to the state government, the local government, and the mortgage folks and the insurance folks. My insurance is going to triple annually for this house. Just the insurance. Property taxes are more than doubling. I'm like, oh my God, this is so expensive. So yeah, the liquid capital's drying up, boys. We're gonna be doing a lot more Audio 46 stuff for a while. But I you know, honestly, like I've got probably 6 months worth of shootout stuff and good material that we can do, and analysis, headphones that I've bought and have never even reviewed, like the Timeless AE that's sitting here, or you know, I have a bunch of IEMs and headphones that I just haven't had time to get to. So we're gonna start making time for some of those as we're in the midst of like, oh shit, we got to pay for the house, boys. We got to keep the lights on. So yeah. So yeah, you can ask for those Shangri-Las all you want, but if somebody's not sending them to me, it ain't gonna get reviewed. I can promise you that. I do want to get the clock in though for the DCS. That's something that's like, if I can move, I think the Blue Hawaii, that's probably something I'm considering. I think the clock on the DCS is something I really want, to see what a difference that makes. I also have, I don't know if you guys know it, but I have a lot of audio gear. Microphones. Guys, I got to do I'll do a microphone show someday where I'm just like showing off all these microphones. And so I have some really expensive microphones, including like some stuff that's, you know, well into the 4 figures. And to drive all of this, I have some really good, like electronics and stuff. And one of those things is called a Big Ben, which is Apogee makes some of the best capture devices, audio capture devices in the world. You know, everybody knows of Pro Tools and all that, but Apogee makes really good stuff. They're great preamps. They have great technology, very, you know, robust interfaces, very, very nice. So they make a clock called a Big Ben that's designed to be the word clock for a professional audio. Like if you're in a studio and you want to lock all of your gear together, you would use a word clock, and the Apogee Big Ben is one of the best word clocks you can get. And I have one here, and I thought, and I've been thinking about this for a week, but it's just, or for weeks now since I got the DCS in, but I'm like, what if I hook that word clock up to the DCS? With how accurate Apogee gear is, it's like, that might be formidable. That might be something worth experimenting with. I just haven't had time. And to run wires, I don't even know where my wires are right now. They're all in a box in the garage, you know, in the real garage, the real director's garage. So yeah, that's something I want to do. I want to check that out. Second go around for the Susvara, huh? Things happen for a reason, Michael. You are meant to keep the Susvara. You give them a great home. Well, they're you know, look, I've had a long relationship with these Susvaras now. You know, we're going back a couple of years now that I've had them, and they're kind of like the headphone I almost... Well, I don't want to say it's the headphone I love to hate, because the headphone that I hate to love is the Abyss 1266. I really wish I didn't like those things as much as I do, because the company I'm just like not thrilled with. Like they're not responsive. They don't like, you know, it's like I just was trying to even get some stuff to listen to in here, and they're like, oh, well, we're as far, you know, we're Abyss, you know, and I'm like, I don't like that approach. I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about people, but it's just like, that's the company. Like I really would wish they would put out bad stuff, but they don't. They put out great stuff, and then I hate to love it, but I do. The Abyss is just like that challenging, like, when am I going to be satisfied with these? And maybe the answer is never. But I keep working with them. And they keep coming back to me. So that's fine. You know, it is a great world-class headphone. I just wish that I would hear what I want to hear out of them. And I don't know that I ever have. So, like, I push them as far as I can push them that I can think of for now. And, but I still use them. That's the funny thing, is like I still wear them. So, but the headphones that I, you know, absolutely love are the Caldera, the 1266, the LCD-4. I love the LCD-4. You know, those are my key. And then, yeah, those are my like top headphones that I absolutely love. You know, like I don't want to have a world without those, because they just bring so much. Yeah, and the Meze Elite, just a headphone that they're not a perfect headphone, but they're, in many ways, they're the best all-round headphone, because they're so comfortable. They give you such a great bass experience, and they have good technicals, you know? So it's like, just, good. We love our gear, guys. That's why we're here. So, you know, like now our current viewers have ticked up because I'm not talking about motorcycles anymore. Nephilim, what tube amp are you running right now? He thinks he saw my listings on Head-Fi for tubes. Oh, we gotta follow that up, man. Gotta follow that. Oh, he announced it. He talked about it last week. The Pathos. Pardon me, guys. I got a little frog in my throat. I'm going to take some water to try and clear it up. There goes my coaster. Ace of Spades. Cheers, Ace of Spades. He saw the new Andrew Jones point source speaker from Munich High End. They look quite fantastic for a smaller room setup. I haven't gone through all the Munich stuff yet. I haven't watched. I watched. Who's the guy? Framer. Michael Framer. Went and he looked at, like, they were all like around $100,000 turntables. And I watched his video when he went room to room at the, sorry, I'm scooching out. I'm trying to find where my coaster fell. And I'm doing a foot pickup. Hang on, boys. Don't try this at home. Coaster. Framer was going around and checking out these crazy $100,000 turntables, and went room to room on YouTube. And I was watching that video. I was just like, and they're like, yeah, this floats. I'm like, what do you mean it floats? The platter floats. Well, what else floats? The tone arm floats too. It all floats. Like, what is this? Like a scene from It? We all float down here, but yeah, and they're like $100,000. I can't imagine that. Like, as much as I've spent on stuff, I'm like, just $100,000 for a turntable? Wow. Too much. So yeah, but I haven't seen all the stuff from Munich, and they just announced today. I got an email saying the headphone show, which is THE, the high-end show. Not headphone related. It used to incorporate, before Can Jam, the THE audio show down in Irvine would have all high-end headphone stuff, and like Astell&Kern was there, and JH Audio, and like all those great places would come and show their headphones off. Now I think they all hold out for Can Jam in the fall, Can Jam LA, which I missed last year, sadly. Bad PR move on the Director's Garage. Probably lost a lot of momentum on the subscriber base by not going to Can Jam, but whatever, you know, all good. Yeah, so I want to go to, so the 9th, I think, of June is when the headphone show is taking place. I'm going to double check that real quick because I don't want to give out false information. Intentionally. I give out false information all the time. But I don't want to intentionally give out false information. I just saw it. I got an email. Darn it. Here we go. Acoustic sent me it. The headphone show, June 9th to 11th. That's when we're scheduled to close on the Director's Garage. Guess who's not going to Orange County, Costa Mesa for the headphone show this year? That would be your director. Damn it. Doesn't anybody think to consult me about when I can go to these things? Hey, Mrs. Director, we're live on YouTube's.
Hi, Mr. Director. Mrs. Director, on a rough day.
Aww. So yes, I won't be going to the headphone show, but that's going to be great because they're going to have a lot of the Munich stuff at it. Unfortunately, it takes place when we're probably going to be moving. So nope, can't happen. Can't happen. I can't leave for a day in Orange County when the house hasn't been moved in and settled yet. Yeah, boys, that's the trap right there. That's what you
have a good time, sweet pea.
That's the trap. That's the trap. Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait, boys. Marriage tips from the Director's Garage. Sure, go down with your friends and hang out in a listen.
All of
Oh, it's getting cold in here, boys. Frigid. Yeah, it's too much fun. Too much fun. Gil Renard said, I tried to use my code for a discount on an IEM from a certain brand recently, but Audio 46 message said it would not apply. Yeah, there are some boutique brands. I think it's Grado and... no, not Empire Ears. Grado and... Oh... Who does the Andromeda? What's that brand? Campfire Audio. I know for a fact those two will not take the coupon code. So you're just supporting the show. So I'm sorry. I didn't get you your 5% on that one. Damn it. But there's some brands that will not work with Audio 46 on their pricing. So I'm sorry about that, Gil, but any of the other brands will. So go buy them. Just kidding, man. Buy what you want. Buy what you love. And listen to what you love. All good. Adnan Frozy, as of the end of the month, the Bathys Aurum, yeah, your tube amps, yes. Fantastic. And WA22, who doesn't love a Woo audio amp? You know, they're all good. Matthew Hilty says, if you love the chandelier, he sees no issue with that. He really liked the simple, beautiful chandelier we had when he was little, made for fancy dinners. And I'm going to call you for designs, Matthew. That's all there is to it. I need some help designing this new place. Yeah, we absolutely loved that chandelier, but it was more of a story about how how I appreciate service, and the good service of that person, led to me buying something from them just because they bent over backwards to take care of me, and show me his floor, his warehouse floor. Nephilim says, Michael, he loves how I am keeping it simple with the DCS Lena. It has a ton of features, but he likes the way you're exploring the basics first. Yes. And I'll branch out over time, as I get my feet wet with it and kind of understand the sound. But I really want to get to know the bass sound before I start making changes. Because if you start making too many changes, you actually start confusing your own ears and what it's doing. And you're not going to appreciate when you turn on some of the features you almost can't hear a difference because you don't have enough burn-in for what the bass sounds like. So like some of the filters and things like that, yeah, I'll get to them at some point, but I really need to like let this thing settle and get my ears used to it. It's what I like about it is that it's still extremely detailed and it's extremely technical, but it's not as overly detailed as my chord stuff was. And I still love the chord. Still have a chord DAC here. It's like not to disparage chord, but I like how they sort of took some edge off and they're smoother, and there's something really beautiful about that DAC and the way it reproduces digital, it decodes digital files. I absolutely love it so far. And a lot of people said, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. It's not for you. I'm like, so far, I really like it. So, and I also appreciate the way it does, MQA. I do. I appreciate that every time I go to listen to a 16, a 44.116 file, there's a 96 version of it in MQA on Tidal. And so I get much more fidelity out of something that, would sound kind of ordinary. So there's still something to MQA, and it hasn't evaporated as all predicted. It hasn't imploded. It's just, they're still figuring out what's going to happen with it. But it's still there. It's all there. All those files are there. They didn't, nobody got deleted. JTB says the new house will put a dent in the Director's Garage audio products. Absolutely. Get ready for in-depth reviews of the $35 Target exclusive Dora the Explorer headphone. Great bass and soundstage. Let me rave about Dora. But you forgot to mention they're pink and white, which is everything. And if you think that I'm not going to do the Hello Kitty on the tail of the Dora the Explorer, and we're going to do a Hello Kitty Dora the Explorer shootout, are you kidding me? On the Director's Garage, that's going to happen, boys. That's going to happen. And I'll wear them, and I'll wear them loud, and I'll wear them proud. Hello Kitty for the win. Randy says he uses a cheaper clock for his DAC, and they do make a huge difference. So I'm going to try that out. That's something that I think would be worth exploring a little bit. The only thing is, and this is one thing, somebody was challenging me on the DCS and saying, the clock, you're going to spend that much money because it is like a $7,000 clock for a simple clock that should cost you a couple $100. If you know what is going on inside the DCS, they're actually running dual clocks at the same time. This is what makes the DCS so interesting, this setup. They're running one clock at 44.1, and they have a second clock in the clock box. They should, by the way, anybody wants to copyright, trademark that from me, just send some money my way. You can have that name. It's a clock box. What a great name for a timepiece. Yes, they're running a 48, I want to say this right, 48 megahertz clock cycle and a 44.1 megahertz clock cycle. So as you step up, all of the higher end audio files are multiples of either 48 or 44.1, which is the audio file, the music standard, the professional music standard versus the consumer music standard. Consumer music standard, 44.1 16-bit. Professional music standard initially was, for digital, was 4824. So as you jump up, you get 96 or 88.1, 88.2, I think it is. I don't remember. Maybe I got my math wrong. Yes, 88.2. So it's 88.2 versus 96, which is 48 times 2. 44.1 times 2 is 88 points. So, and it goes that way, 176 versus 192. One's a multiple of 44.1, the other one is a multiple of 48. So that's why there's those, like, why is it weird? It's like 176. It was because it's a multiple of 44.1. So that's what they're doing. So what DCS is doing internally is on stuff that's 48 or stuff that's 96, they're using the 48K clock to seed or to lock the DAC to it very accurately. And when they're dealing with an 88.2 file, they're using the 44.1 clock chip. And it does this all automatically. It sees what the best clock is for whatever the file it's trying to render out, and it grabs that clock signal. So to say that like a $200 clock would make, it's just put any old 200 and you're getting the same thing, you're really not. And the DCS folks, their stuff is expensive, but there's so much research that goes into this stuff. I'm not saying that it's the $21,000 new Bartok Apex is $10,000 better than a Cord Dave. It probably isn't, because there's diminishing returns. But there's serious engineering and tech in all of their stuff. They're not just making stuff up and putting a fancy box around it and saying, see, greatness in a box. They're actually doing the work, and that's the important thing. So there you go, because they can explain it, and they can show you the components and say this is what it's doing. That's great. Closing the door because there's a plane going overhead. We're in the Burbank flight path today. Want to get away? We'll do a few more and then we'll start wrapping things up here. But I really enjoyed this. This is a rat hole ass episode, but I really did enjoy this one a lot. We talked about a lot of stuff. We're all over the map today. And that's my favorite kind of episode to do. Just watch the video. Holly's outside. I closed the door and he's like, now he wants to come in. It's so Holly. Just watched the video of the new Abyss launch. Yes, I did see that. We were talking about that last week. I also checked out that performer that you guys were talking about. He kind of did fusion jazz. Michael something or other from last week. Anyway, I checked him out. It was really impressive. Thank you, whoever came up with that recommendation last week. I did check out that jazz performance. Great. Yeah, the new Abyss launch. It's going to be a cheaper headphone. I think they said it's going to. They're eyeing a $3,000 price point, but it's going to be kind of like it's going to have some wood inlay on the side. It's still going to be the composite whatever, and then it's going to have wood inlay on the side to kind of make them look different. I don't know. And Alan Nada, by the way. Cheers, Alan Nada, your new voice around here. We cheers everybody who comes new to the Director's Garage Happy Hour Hangout. Just know, all over the world, people are raising a glass in your name. Right now. That's the kind of service you get from the Director's Garage. So stupid. Have you been listening to the Caldera with thick pads? He loves the thick pads on it. I like the perforated leather ones myself, but I'm always a little biased towards perforated leather. And that's, by the way, what I put on the Susvara first from Deconi was the perforated leather pads. I like the feel of them. I like how they breathe a little bit, but not too much. Yeah, but I don't know if they're tremendously deep or not. I'm crazy about the sound of the Caldera, though, as you know from watching the show. I think it's. I'm hesitant to say this because they're so expensive. They're still $3,700, I think. But if you're looking for peak performance value, you could do worse. JTB and I talk all the time about how the $2,000 price point and the HE-1000 V2 is kind of the sweet spot. But if you're looking to get into the upper echelon, look no further than the Caldera, because it really is, it outperforms those $2,000 headphones. And it's impressive enough to where if they had priced that at $5,000, they would have flown off the shelves. It would be like, it's the greatest thing since the Susvara, and it is. And that's because it is. But that's how much I think of the Caldera. You don't see many people going, that damn Caldera. It's awful. Expanse on Tubes, one of his favorites. The Expanse is one of those headphone reviews I got to get to, Mickey. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's another headphone like the D8000. There's things that I love about it and things that I'm kind of like, I don't know. But I'll get into that when I do the full review of it. I've had a review that I've been adding to every time I get a night listening session with them. Clearly, I've been spending a lot of time with the electrostatics for good reason. I have a lot of money in this right now. There's a lot of skin in the game, in the electrostatics, and I've really come to enjoy that experience again. And I'll have more to say on that when I do the SRX 9000 review in the coming weeks. Pennywise the turntable. Yes, we all float down here. Run. I know, guys. It's my silly brain. It just works in crazy ways. The managing partner of a firm he works at has a $150,000 turntable. Every time he listens to his system, he realizes why he hasn't gotten a raise. Yeah. Your raise is sitting on air. Suspended. They're like, hey, get Hipster Cow in here. If you can get your money off of that turntable that's floating above the room, you can have your raise, sir. Like, give me it. Damn it. It's out of reach. It's floating. This was a new Let's Shure IM. Gil, I don't know what you're referring to. Was it something else? I probably missed it. Anyway. Randy says his DAC has two separate clocks as well. The audio, they call that audio God, right? Isn't that how they say it? Clocks with good power supply was a huge upgrade for him. Yeah. And I have no doubt that this DCS is going to sound spectacular. I just wonder if I can maybe fill the gap with a little bit of that Big Ben action and see what it does. Do you still like and own the Atrium? Yes, and yes. The Atrium, I've got a soft spot in my heart for the Atrium, and I think it's the best looking headphone I've ever seen. I like the way they sound. I don't think they're the best sounding headphone ever, but I enjoy them for their darkness. They're a very dark headphone, and I really like that darkness a lot. And on bright, annoying tracks, they are the perfect headphone for stuff that's really bright and kind of like edgy, because they'll just shave that right down and roll it off. It's fantastic. And they have good impact because they're a dynamic driver. Fantastic. So yes, I still have the Atrium. It's my favorite looking headphone, and I wish that the Atrium had taken the Atrium. I wish that the Caldera had taken some design cues off of the Atrium. I really do, because it's so good looking, and I wish they had aged that Caldera. So I gotta let Holly in. I wish they had done the age thing with the Caldera as well, because it would have been spectacular. To have those two headphones looking a little bit worn, on the worn side, oh man, what a duo. What a fantastic pair of headphones those would have been. So yeah. And I'd even like, Zach, if you happen to be watching this, which I doubt you would ever watch this hour, we're an hour plus into a live stream. Yeah, Zach, if you're hanging around and listening to my ramblings, and you want to take my Atrium or my Caldera and rough them up a little bit, I will send them to you if you rough them up and give them a little bit of that mojo from the Atrium. Oh, so good. So good. Been playing, Matthew Hilty says he's been playing the HQ Player upscaling software, free trial from Rune. Really likes the perceived jump in resolution. I haven't played with it much. Maybe a gimmick, but it sounds good to him. That's all that matters, right? I mean, if you're hearing a difference, then you're hearing a difference, and that's all that matters. And if somebody else tells you, you don't know what you're saying, so what? Dude, then you don't have to play with the software. I'm playing with it, and I think it's making an improvement. That's all that matters. If you hear it, it's real, God, I'm just telling you, man, I've had some of the most annoying comments in my feed lately. Come on, why are you putting all of this on me? Jesus, guys, use your own ears and make your own decisions. How about that? Brother, it's way too serious. I'm taking this all so seriously. So let's get back to had a moment of darkness there. Darkness like my atrium. Pull out of it. Pull up. We're going down. Yes. So let's see. Alan says, yes, the thick perforated ones. Add a touch more bass, which he loves. The second pick is the stock pads for sure. Yeah. I think I'm on the stock pads. I don't remember. I just was playing with them until I found something I liked and stuck with it. Nephilim, just a quick thank you. You've explained and explored so much. We love your take on hi-fi. Personally, he's appreciative of my channel and the enthusiasm. Well, thanks. I mean, and why do it if you're not enthusiastic? I wouldn't do the show if I wasn't excited about hearing and finding that next level. And yeah, I'm spending an absurd amount of money at times to try and find that next level. And I think that it's fun to kind of bring you guys along for that ride when I can. I don't know. It's just, it's either you're going to love it or you're not. The show, it's an acquired taste. I tell people that all the time. Like anytime they're like, you're stupid. I'm like, well, I tell you I'm stupid at the top of every episode. I call myself an idiot for crying out loud. What do you watch me for? The Atrium close is fantastic. Alanetta, you're one of the few who've heard that. I really want to, I want to hear that headphone bad. One of those ones I hope Zach would send my way. Yes. I bought 3 brand new headphones from Zach over the years, last couple of years. Yes, since the show began. Aye to what Nephilim said. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Caldera Redheart was the best looking one. Yeah. But none of them match that Atrium. You know what I mean? That aged Atrium. Oh, it's so good. So good. Michael Menta, Audio's 46 Director's Garage discount wouldn't discount for the Let's Show or IM model. I get it. No regrets. Just held off and avoided any possible buyer's remorse. Yes. And by the way, there's a return policy with Audio 46 that they will honor. You have, I think it's 30 days to return anything. And no questions asked, and even better if you'll get store credit. You can buy something else if you don't like them. They're really good about that there. That's the other thing. It's like they stand by their shit, and if you're really unhappy and go, gosh, I thought this was going to be great and it's not, they'll sell you something else. They'll take it back most of the time, unless you damaged them or driving them over them with your ATV, if you have an ATV or a motorcycle. Getting back on topic. Nephilim81, Adnan, you're a gentleman. Nice to hear from you again. And we have the best group here. This is the best group of YouTubers around. People who hang out. I like all you guys. You're all my buddies. You'll forever know I love this hobby more than ever. Yes, and it's true. Holding out for a stabilized Caldera JTB for the win. Isn't that interesting? They got to be doing one at some point. You got to figure. Trajectory, and Adnan's on the trajectory of downsizing. Yes, the Director's Garage is too as well. We're all going to be downsizing. Oh, too great, man. So yes, that's what's coming up. I'll wrap up. I'll start wrapping up now. Coming up, I've got the D8000 episode next. I shot that last night. It's going to be, it's not going to be an all-in review. You're not going to get a glowing, smoke up your butt, review of those. I'm going to tell you what I think. And I'm there's things that I absolutely was like, yes, 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 these are amazing. And then there are things that I was like, don't know, man. No, don't know about that. I'm not entirely sold. So you're going to get both of those perspectives. I'll talk about both ends of it, why they're great and why they might not be so great. As soon as I get that episode put together, I'll get that out to you probably next week. I don't see it happening before the weekend. I got a lot to do. So that's coming. And then we've got I'm going to do a shootout between the Blue Hawaii and the Alphabet amp. We're gonna compare those and see where, I'm going to do a direct shoot out of that. Haven't even done the research on it yet, boys. I can't even tell you what it's going to be. I have a high suspicion based on my memory of the Blue Hawaii that it is not as powerful as this KGS SHV, and the KGS SHV sounded like it was pushing more bass at lower volumes. We'll do it, but when you start doing direct comparisons, I may find something different. And then I've got a full review of the Expanse and a full review of the SRX 9000 coming, where we're going to do some comparisons with the Caldera and with the Carbon. And I'm going to tell you now, you're going to be surprised by some of the things I say in that, because I've already started doing that research for that, and I'm finding some really interesting things. So fantastic. And I'm loving the eStat world. I would advise all of you to hang on to your wallets and stay the hell away from it. It's very expensive. It's a very slippery slope, boys. The electrostatics, because it's addictive. It's like heroin. It's the heroin of audiophilia. It's like once you start down that road, it's hard to put the brakes on. Like, oh my God, these are so fast and blah blah blah. What does this sound like? And what does that sound? And I need to buy a better this. And it's crazy. It's a whole new vein in your arm to pump drugs into. Please don't, though. June 2nd or 9th, they'll have a stabilized resin. Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. They're always coming out with new stuff at ZMF, and appreciate it. Looking forward to the D8000 review. Wish I had the original, but still interested in what I think of the Pro. My guess is the treble where the problem is. Yes. How's that for an answer? It's coming. You'll get it next week. And then cool, looking forward to the shootout. Hasn't dipped his toe. He hasn't dipped into the eStat world yet. Yeah, don't do it. Liked what you said of the other video about the WA7 Mark 1, WO7 Mark 1, 007 Mark 1. I'm just speaking too fast right now. I'm trying to get off the air. Yes. And so, and the Mark 1, did I have a comparison for that? I don't think I did. I got to do that, though. That's kind of cool. Well, we'll get into that at some point, too. We've got a lot of shows to do, and I've got a move coming up, so there's going to be a little hiatus here while we move studios. But I'm going to try and keep the episodes coming to you. Certainly you'll have the 8000 early next week, most likely. I doubt I'll get anything out by Friday. I just too slammed this week and too much to pack. So much packing to do. And hit me up if you want any of my old gear. If you need old computers, boys, I'm your man. If you have a need for some standard definition broadcast gear, I've got a whole garage full of half of it, of a bunch of it. So that's our show for today. Again, we're all kind of happy, we're having a good time, but pull out your best Tina Turner album tonight, and your favorite Tina Turner album tonight, and give it a listen on your favorite pair of headphones. Let's just all do that. That would be a cool thing to do. I know I'm going to be listening to a little bit of her stuff tonight at some point for sure. Great talent, 83 years old, and she passed away today. That's it. All right. So that's going to be it for the Director's Garage Happy Hour Hump Day Hangout. It's a true 4-H club today. I'm glad you guys could stop by, spend some time with me. Always enjoy this process, and these things are just a blast to do. I love your comments. Just fantastic, and yeah. Get the goodbye music going. Hit the thumbs up, people, on your way out the door. Tip your waiters and waitresses. Why do I do this at the last second when everybody's left? Thank you guys for stopping by. You guys make my week, and I hope that I lighten up the middle of yours. And it's, if you're going through something crazy, maybe just had a smile for an hour or something while I talk about motorcycles and bicycles and God knows what else. All right, take care, guys, and I will see you before you know it. Oh, we got to do this because it's gonna. Yeah, there we go. Hey, worked.